Hi friends! So in 2017, I decided that I wanted to take my love of magical girls and my desire to learn about new cultures and combine them to start the extremely ambitious project of designing country-inspired magical girls for every single country. While only time will tell whether or not I've bitten off more than I can chew here, I decided to kickstart this project with a place that was close to my heart, which is Ghana. My mom's side comes from Ghana, so I was already reasonably familiar with some parts of the culture. Growing up, I was just always a little saddened by the lack of girls who looked like me in the magical girl shows I watched. In Western shows, we had characters like Layla and Tarani, so it's not like they didn't exist, but it just wasn't enough for childhood me. And maybe it was just me projecting, or maybe it was actually true, but I always kind of felt like the black characters in those shows never really got the love that I wished they'd gotten in comparison to characters with other skin tones or of other ethnicities, and I could never really figure out why that was, but it just made me really sad. So I decided that I can draw. Guess I just have to draw them myself. I really wanted to start with Ghana because I just wanted to see more positive representation of Africa in media in general. I was just so tired of my motherland always getting ignored or hearing ignorant things about it. But then I also realized that I didn't understand much about Africa myself, and that needed to change. So this project was my way of doing that. Nowadays, I try to draw countries from all over the world just because I really love learning about new cultures, but the true heart of this project for me will always be in representing and learning more about Africa. When I first started this project in 2017, my design and research process was very different from how it is now. At first, this character's design looked pretty strange and very unmagical girlish, if I do say so myself. I remember the goal of that design was to create something that was inspired by the mermaid type dresses that seem so popular in West African countries, and in African countries in general, now that I think about it, but I ended up giving her pants because the dress just didn't seem practical for a magical girl, and so the result was this weird flared design that I started hating after a while. Eventually, I scrapped this design, and I decided to reboot the project in 2020-ish. I'd actually remembered that many years prior, my mom had shown me these pictures of traditional Ashanti dress. They'd come from a Time magazine article that she'd saved, and I remember thinking that even though I'm Fanti and not Ashanti, it was still the most beautiful thing that I had ever seen in my whole life. And I felt so inspired to incorporate more of a traditional look into not just Ghana's outfit, but for all of the country's outfits, because it's just so much more meaningful when you do it that way, really. I also remember really wanting to incorporate kente cloth in her outfit. So kente is a traditional woven cloth that was created by the Ashanti people sometime around the 17th century. It's worn all over Ghana. It's sort of like the national cloth of our country. And luckily, a lot of kente is woven with the exact colors of the Ghanaian flag, because I remember being really strict about that. As for the character herself, her name is Akosia, and she was named by my mom. I wanted to give her a unique set of powers because almost every magical girl usually has powers. In her case, I wanted to incorporate the Adinkra symbols into her abilities, so I decided to make it so that she can alternate between a plethora of different powers that relate to one of the symbols. The Adinkra are basically symbols originating from the Bono Akan people that represent wise sayings. So for example, this is Sankofa, which represents learning from the past to improve your future. So I imagine that whenever Akosia invokes this symbol, she gets the power to go back in time for a little bit, or temporarily reverse time, kind of like a Tracer Recall or an Echo Ultimate for those of you who are gamers. Also, I apologize if the pronunciation of some of these words sounds a little off. Please do not come for me, fellow Ghanaians. I am Ghanaian American, and I was not raised speaking Fanti, okay? So I'm sorry. But anyway, another example I thought of for her powers is this symbol, Duafe, which represents beauty and traditionally feminine qualities. I thought that maybe this symbol could give her healing powers, since in many cultures, feminine energy kind of represents a nurturing or healing presence. If not, I also imagine that maybe she could use this symbol as a way to disguise herself. I know that getting dressed up and looking cute is pretty feminine, so maybe she just has a bunch of cute disguises or personas that she can use to do espionage in or something. I don't know, I kind of like the first idea a little bit better. The final example I have is of this symbol, which represents ram's horns and is a symbol of strength. So obviously she can evoke this symbol to make herself physically stronger, but I also like to imagine that she can use these powers externally too, like maybe she can give this super strength to someone else temporarily, or she can use it to temporarily fortify buildings and structures to keep them from crumbling in like an earthquake or something. Not that Ghana gets many earthquakes, but still. There are a lot of fun ways to play with these powers, and honestly, the fact that she can do all of these things would probably make her a little OP, but that's neither here nor there, and I'm kind of biased because Ghana, hello. But that's gonna be it for this magical girl. I do have prints of this character if you're interested, and I will leave that link in the description. Thank you for watching, and I will see you later. Bye!